Welcome to our webinar about how to build a perfect monetization strategy for your game. That's what we'll be talking about today. My name is Luke Pretty. I'm the head of education at Yoda One, and I will be your host for today. So it's great to have everybody here. In this webinar, we'll be talking through strategies to help you make more money with your games. The basic agenda today will go like this. I'm going to do a quick introduction of Yoda One, then introduce our two guests for today, and then we can get started with the discussion on monetization strategies. So just a quick background on Yoda One. You may know Yoda One as a game publisher, but actually it's not the whole picture. Yoda One started in 2011 as a publisher based in China, publishing games like Crossy Road, Rodeo Stampede, Transformers Earth Wars, Ski Safari, and many more. And through this, we developed a suite of internal tools that allowed us to turn those hit games into huge financial successes as well. And one of these is an ad optimization platform called Maz. So then in 2019, we expanded the focus to help game developers turn their games into businesses. For example, Maz is now being used by thousands of developers. And as the head of education, I'm part of that effort to share knowledge and insights that help devs grow their games. So that's just a little bit of background. Now with us today, we have a monetization expert who has built 18 games for iOS and Android and went from 0 to 6 figures in under 3 years. His name is Hisham Rakini. So thanks, Hisham, for being here. You want to say hi?
Hi, everybody. And thank you, Luke, for inviting me.
Great to have you here. And then we also have a new game developer who has, I believe, only recently published his first game and also recently completed our Business of Mobile Gaming course. And he was sending us emails and asking a lot of questions. So we thought, hey, why don't we invite him on to ask the expert questions? That might be a really interesting way to go about sharing insights. So he's here to gain some insights into monetization. Bilal, welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Luke. That tells me my emails worked. And
Emails work.
Thank you. Yeah.
We read emails. Yeah, exactly. Well, I think we can get into it. So maybe just as a bit of an introduction, I said a little bit about each of you, but maybe you could say a little more. Hisham, could you share a bit about your background and maybe talk about how you got into gaming?
Okay, well, I started this journey after a conversation I had with a friend in around December 2017. Mm-hmm. He told me that he was making guide apps for famous games and publishing them in the Play Store. He was integrating ads into these apps and was generating a quite decent revenue. I was a blogger, and blogging was at the decline for me at this period. And I needed to start something new, something that will change my life. I wanted to be financially free, to never rely on a 9-to-5 for my living, or to be locked in an office. So I wanted to be able to take a holiday whenever I wanted and go wherever I wanted. I quickly knew that the gaming industry was the right path to follow. So in January 2018, I've started searching and learning. I took some Udemy courses, and I was lucky because I was a developer. Learning was fast and not too much complicated. Like 3 months later, I created and published my first 2D game. It was a sliding puzzle.
Sliding puzzle. Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, great. Thanks for the background. That helps. Bilal, could you talk a little bit about yourself also? You're here to get some ideas about how to monetize your game. What kind of game is it, and how long have you been, well, I know it's not been long, but how long have you been interested in making games?
Yeah, so I'm kind of new, unlike Hisham. Started out just recent, like last year, started learning programming, and then like through that 5-week course, my final project was to build something of my own. And I did it in Python, actually, sort of a brick wall game. And I was like, okay, this is fun. Started learning C#. built a game in Unity and launched it. So it's a puzzle game. It's called Ghost, and yeah, it's that's that's how it is.
That sounds pretty cool. So did you enjoy the process? Did it feel like an assignment, or is this something that made you feel like, oh, I could actually, if I could do this?
It started out as an assignment. It started as something I had to do to get the certificate, but turned out to be a lot more fun than what it seemed. And then I was like, okay, if I could do this, I could maybe, actually do something and have real people play it. Then during that process, I was like, wow, this is creative, this is technical, this is something I want to do. So yeah, I love it.
I actually I saw a couple of the emails. You sent a lot of emails, but I saw one of them. It said that, I mean, you're right now though constrained by being a bit busy as well. So does that
Yeah.
mean, how do you do that with your job at the same time?
See, that's the emails got me here. So, the major issue for me is that I heard Hisham's story and how he's devoting time to it. For me, it's really hard because I'm like a full-time working person, and for me to build a game or essentially code and then take care of that particular game, it's either at my nighttime or or sometime during the weekend. So time constraint. And one of the emails I sent was like one of the largest issue that I have is I have a game. How do I make money from it? How do I live off it? And that's the major problem. The second one.
Well, I think that's a good point where we could actually jump into it a little bit. So, Hisham, where can we start with? We've got a bit of background here. Where can we start? Maybe we can explore monetization strategies a bit. If you need to ask Bilal questions to understand it better, maybe we can start jumping into the different ways to monetize.
Yeah, I'm wondering, Bilal, what's the monetization strategy you are currently using? How do you do to monetize your game? How do you make money from your game currently?
Currently, I'm not making much money, but what I do use is I have both ads, Unity ads, because that was the engine that I used to build my game, and I also have in-app purchases that I use. So two
Okay,
things
good.
essentially.
Good. Good. Yeah. Uh, it's important to have a balanced game economy. And we need to keep in mind that there are a lot of monetization strategies we can implement. There is, for instance, in-app purchases, like you are doing, where players can buy digital products in your game, like gems, maps, weapons, whatever. There's also subscriptions where the users pay every week, month, or even year to benefit from services that your app or game provides. There's also monetization surveys where the users take surveys and you reward them after they finish providing their feedback. Uh, it's different from game to game, but I'd say that ads are the easiest and quickest way to start. But my
Can I?
advice here, yeah,
Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to ask
yeah,
quickly if I could. You said at the beginning, balanced. When you say balanced, what does that mean exactly? A balanced economy means you're using all of those in the right degree, or yeah, what does that mean?
yeah. We can use a mix of monetization strategies. We don't need to rely on ads only, for example, or on in-app purchases only. We need to use them in a correct way, in a balanced way, to take profit from our game. We can, for example, have interstitial games or rewarded video ads. We can also ask the player if he wants to remove the ads, pay like a subscription fee. There are a lot of methods we can discuss here or in another session that leads to improving the game monetization and revenue.
Sam, can I ask you something? Just very personally, you say you have 18 games, right? And from the first one till the 18th one, you might have learned, a lot of things. And as I'm just on my first one, I would, on your 18th game, which particular monetization strategy do you think, did wonders for you essentially?
Yeah, I always start with ads. This is from my own experience. I always tend to use ads at the beginning. Then I need to pay attention to the retention rate, the churn rate, because if the user, I don't pay attention to the user experience, this will harm my monetization setup. I get people uninstalling my games and leaving. So ads is the first thing, but I don't put too much ads into my games. Then I tend to use in-app purchases as well. I give like as a supplement, but I give superior features with in-app purchases as well. They can unlock these superior features with rewarded ads for a short period of time, or they can unlock it for a month or a year, a period of time using in-app purchases. This is how I do things mainly.
Can I ask, so would you recommend that specifically for Bilal? His first game, he said he's doing Unity ads and in-app purchases at the moment. Is that the right place to start? I mean, is he generally, broadly, ads plus in-app purchases doing the right thing, or should he be looking elsewhere?
Yes, this is the right path to follow, but you need Bilal to know your players. It's important. If you just put ads everywhere or in-app purchases everywhere, you won't get it from them. You need to know your players. You need to have analytics tools into your games to better understand the options they are using, maybe the zones they are visiting, and you take this into consideration to improve your monetization strategy.
Hisham, I generally use Firebase sort of, to get an idea of, how users are and what's the retention rate and the churn rate. One particular problem I'm facing these days is like with ads. You said ads is the best way and you do that, right? For me, I cannot rely on ads now. The problem being like sort of a low eCPM and, the fill rate is an issue as well. How did you overcome that, or like what particular thing am I doing wrong essentially there?
Yeah, I feel you. I've been there. It's because you are relying on a single ad network, and this happens all the time. You have a lower CPM, a lower fill rate. But my suggestion here is to start using the mediators, where you have the possibility to have competition, not only between ad networks, but not only between advertisers, but between entire ad networks. You will get a higher CPM and a higher fill rate, and this increase your upload at the end of the day.
I feel like I have to get my notebook for that. You said ad mediators?
Yes,
Maybe
yes,
Hisham,
exactly.
I wonder if could you, share, because I think you could clarify what mediation means exactly, right? I think that's what Bilal you were asking, but maybe also focus it on a game that you actually worked on in the past, something specific, because that would, for people who are new to it, help, ground it, get a real sense for it.
Yeah. Maybe my first game with Mass, the solution I'm using currently, I had like low CPM and fill rate, mainly because I was targeting not US and Europe countries. So if you have this audience, this target, you will suffer from lower fill rate, especially, and CPM as well. So I've started searching and experimenting till I found out that there is a solution. This is the mediator. Let's put things simply here. Mediation is a way to have competition between advertisers. And this competition leads all the time to increasing your CPM and ARPDO. Also, the fill rate is much higher than the single ad networks. But there is some downsides we will be covering later, and you should know about them.
So, okay, now I just want to make sure I get what you're saying. So you're saying you had a low fill rate previously, and then later you changed solutions. You mentioned currently you're on MAZ, and I think we can get into that later. So just to understand, my understanding, mediation means you have something here on top, and it's basically allowing competition between the networks so that you're getting a better fill rate. Is that?
Yeah, that's
right?
Correct. Yeah, that's correct. There is a basic economic rule, guys. The more demand we have for something, the higher price someone will pay. And mediation works in a similar way.
Okay.
So essentially, by mediation, you mean I would have the choice to choose either Unity or AdMob or whatever I want. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. It depends. If you go with a mediator, you need to set up what we call a waterfall. Waterfall is a set of ad sources that are placed in the mediation chain according to their CPM value. And you can choose whatever you want. You can choose AdMob, you can choose Unity Ads, Facebook, Audience Network. You need to do this manually, unfortunately, and this is time consuming. But you have the possibility to do this. And when you do it, you increase your chance to have competition between these ad networks that you set up in your mediation chain. And this is how you get the best value from your game.
I remember I read the waterfall concept on a Medium article as well. And the problem, Hisham, is that you said it's time consuming. It is really time consuming. Just the thought of it, is like, do I spend my weekend with my family or do I work on that? How did you,
so essentially choose the second one. Work on that.
Yes.
Grind.
Right. Forget the money part of it.
Yeah, I know it's all about the money, right? No. So Hisham, I mean, that's a really good question. Would you recommend for someone like Bilal that, mediation, it's better than a single ad network, but essentially you have to give up family time to spend unless you have a team of people who are able to tweak all the knobs to make sure that your mediator is optimized. Is that something that you would actually recommend that Bilal do, or what do you think?
This is correct, Luke. To set up the waterfall and to maintain it, you need like 3 or 4 persons doing this. You need a team because it's really time consuming. First, you need to set up the what I call the mediation triangle. You need to select the container, the mediation platform. You need to set up the waterfall. And for this, you need to create your app and ad units in each ad network dashboard. You need to handle the SDK of the mediation platform and the adapters for every ad network. You need to handle code integration into your project. This is really time consuming. This is complex. This can lead to technical issues. And if not done correctly, this may even harm your monetization. So for small developers, I don't recommend this option at all. Maybe you're stuck with a single ad network is better than a mediator, but there are more interesting alternatives.
So I stay with Unity.
Ahead,
is that
Bilal.
what you recommend?
There's your answer. We're
No.
done here.
No, not really, not really. We will talk about a better solution for you, Bilal.
So, okay, so if I'm sort of just getting the whole thing in my head, there's a better solution than a single ad network. In Bilal's case, Unity ads. That is mediation, but there's a major trade-off, which is huge time sink and a lot of manual effort. And if you don't have a bunch of people to do it, then it probably is better to, well, you might as well just use Unity ads. But maybe we could then, I think that takes us into the next thing that might be interesting to talk about in Bilal's case. So Hisham, you're currently using Maz, which is not a mediator. Maybe you could talk a little bit about your experience, and then we can explore that as a third alternative.
Yeah. I was facing the same issues Bilal is right now. I had lower CPM and fill rates mainly. This is the major issues every developer is facing. So I try to search, to experiment mediation platforms. I found out that it's time consuming. I went back to using a single ad network until I found one integrated solutions that do this waterfall setup under the hood. So it's not time consuming anymore. The solution combines the major ad networks and also the major mediators. And on top of this, when I have any issue, any kind of support request, I have something to talk with. This is important. I don't feel like abandoned or lonely. This solution is Maz, and I believe this is the best solution out there.
And it's called Maz. Essentially, that's what it is.
Yes.
And it's exactly
Managed ad services.
Essentially the whole waterfall concept that you said, managing it all manually and optimizing it to get higher eCPM and fill rates. Maz kind of does that itself, or does somebody do it, like an outsourcing team or something? And do I have to pay, or like how do I essentially?
Yeah. I can give you the steps to follow when you integrate Maz into your game. This is easy, and maybe we can talk about this if Loki is ready.
Well, I think what Bilal's getting at is, how is it different from the mediator? Am I paying someone to do it? Who's doing it for me? How is it actually working? How do I get both the benefits of having more than one ad network, but at the same time I don't need to hire three people to tweak it? How is that working, I think was his question. And
okay,
Hisham, because you're currently using Maz, maybe you could talk about some of your own experiences using it and give us a little bit more clarification.
Yeah, sure. I'd say that the Maz integration process is broken down in six main steps. First, you need to create your app listing in their dashboard. This is a quick and easy step. You need to import their SDK, and the SDK combines all the ad networks you may know about, and also the main mediators. This is also a quick step. You need to link your project to your dashboard using what we call the app key. Then you just need to add some custom code to initialize the SDK and set up the ad units. When it comes to setting up the waterfall, it's done by their AI. So you don't need to do it manually. You don't need a team anymore. You will just create your game in the dashboard, and everything is done under the hood. So it's done in, let's say, a few minutes. not days or weeks. You don't need to leave your family. You just need to, yeah, you just need to do easy steps and enjoy your family time, Bilal.
Everything sounds good apart from the under the hood part. That's what keeps popping up. Before you said under the hood, this time as well under the hood. But under the hood, is it like something shady is going on like with my game, or is it like exactly under the hood? Somebody is implementing the waterfall, if I understand you correctly, right? And that implementing of the waterfall, is it done by, I don't know, algorithms? Is it done by real people?
It's
Who takes
artificial
care of?
intelligence. Yeah, it's AI. They have a robust algorithm that that create the waterfall and optimize it for you. So there is no human that does this task. You can rely on humans to support you if you have any integration issue, but the waterfall optimization is done by AI automatically.
Wow, that
Does
seems
that
cool
answer your
then.
question, Bilal? It's
It does actually. And that's quite interesting. AI does that. And so, Hisham, in your own games, out of 18, how many currently use the solution, mass?
Uh, all the games that I'm using ads with, I implement mass now. I have some games that relies on subscriptions, some games that relies only on in-app purchases, but these are educational games because I don't want to integrate ads in order to
Makes
not,
sense.
yeah, because children target is a lot of sensitive to me. But all the other games where I integrate ads, I just use math currently.
So essentially, did you ever do it manually as well? I see you're a hardcore coder, so I'm just asking out of curiosity. Did you ever try doing it manually as well?
you mean
The
the
whole
When I
mediation?
waterfall? Yeah, the whole waterfall effect and mediate on your own and choose the best network.
I when I was using mediator platforms, I was doing this manually, and for every game, I needed like 2 or 3 weeks to set up like a waterfall of 3 or 4 ad platforms only. Now I don't do this. I have time for developing
Family?
more content. Yeah, because it's done under the hood. It's in the background. I just create the app listing in few minutes, and their AI is optimizing everything for me. So
The only concern I have, sorry to cut you off. The only concern I have is that, so if, for example, you did it yourself, right? You know what's best. AI might sometime, or an algorithm might sometime, not have the best, choose the best ad networks or whatever it is
That's a
for
good
your
question.
game. Um, did you feel that when you did it manually, you had higher ECPMs and the fill rates than
now
what you
for
currently does?
yeah, I understand your question. For me, the results are there. When I try to use mediation platforms, I just lost time, and the results wasn't as they should. When I started integrating mass, uh, after like 30 days to 60 days, I noticed an uplift of around 30%.
Wow.
I couldn't imagine that their AI is so much amazing, but the results are there. So 30% uplift is something you can't achieve from other mediation platforms.
And maybe I can give a little context here is it's run by AI automatically, but trained by essentially a world-class monetization team. So the games that I mentioned earlier, it started as an in-house platform, essentially taking the expertise of this world-class monetization team and then turning that into an AI that can then do the day-to-day grind of tweaking the knobs, right? So that's why Hisham and other developers are seeing that kind of performance. And I've talked to quite a few developers. I've done quite a few interviews, and I hear the same thing all the time. Multiples of the performance is much better. And I also hear customer support. I don't know if, Hisham, you have good experiences with the team, but it's not like you're just dealing with a robot. There is a support team that's also there helping guide you through the process if you have questions, constantly ready to help.
Yeah, you have both access to developer support team and your customer success manager. So they are real persons you can talk about in any channel you want. You can reach them on Skype, on Telegram, on WhatsApp, whatever. You don't need to send an email and wait for an answer. Maybe you get it, maybe not, like the other platforms. You can talk to these people and they will answer you quickly and efficiently. This is my case personally. I have the experience. I had some integration issues. They helped me fix some conflicts issues in my games. And they did this in remote sessions. They just connect to my computer remotely and they fix the issue and it's done. I don't need to rely on forums anymore to search the solution for my problems. If I have any issue, just send a message, they log in and fix it for you in a question of minutes.
Damn, so I don't have to wait for Unity to reply me. That's
No.
Yeah,
This is something I faced and not facing anymore with Mass team.
Bilal, does that answer? I mean, do you have any other questions? How are you feeling about it? Do you have any questions? Other questions for Hisham?
I feel like I'm gonna be sending you more emails just to get my game on Mass. Hisham, I didn't get you. How long did it take to have one game on Mass, essentially, for you?
For my first time, or
yeah, for your first time. It'll be my first time. So
yeah, my first time, like 72 hours, because I had to read their documentation, understand it, and follow the flow correctly. But now they are publishing video tutorials in their documentation page. So if you just follow it, it will take you like an hour or so to implement Mass into your games.
Wow, feels like I'm gonna be using it in 2-3 hours then.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, I really appreciate both of you agreeing to do this. I think it's been a really productive conversation. Hisham sharing some of your insights and your experience, and Bilal coming and asking some really interesting questions from your point of view. I hope you enjoy the process of integrating Maz. I have a feeling that process is about to start. Now, as I mentioned, if, like Hisham, you want to get better ad monetization without the hassle, click the link in the chat. You can either register and integrate directly, or you can schedule a call with someone from Yoda One, and they'll be happy to answer your questions and help you through the process. Now, just for those of you in this webinar, we also have a special offer. If you register with Maz by the end of next week, we're going to add a free ad design optimization report specifically for your game. That includes recommendations on how to better place ads in your game, which ad types to use, and when, because finding the right balance between too many ads, too few is not easy. And that's on top of having Maz already optimizing your ad revenue automatically. Yoda One is all about helping you make more money with your game, and Maz is the best way to do that. So again, click on the link to get started, and we wish you all huge success with your games and hope to see you in the next one.